will be very helpful. And I'm really pleased that there's a sense of flexibility to enable us as organisations to look at how the Compass vision can fit in with our own plans, our own contexts and our own priorities, but we will still have some common threads that help to join everything together and hopefully mean that, again, we will achieve more together as we move forward over the next 12 years to ensure that we can be resilient, sustainable, harness opportunities, but also face challenges and navigate those with our global sisterhood behind us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for those words. Again, I don't see anything in the chat. Feel free, as you hear from our coffee hour guest today, to type in any questions or thoughts you have. If there's nothing else right now, I will pass it over to Helga if you have any words.
Yes. So the question is, what impact do you think the new 12-year vision of us will have globally and in your member organization? Yes. So most of the things have been said by my fellow nominees. Just to add on that is that, you know, they're all positive. It's a positive vision, and I see that at a global level, it's also going to help at a national level as a member organization. There's this greater global influence. So we are experts. We are trying, or we are trying to increase our visibility as Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, as well as the changes or the things that we are doing in our communities, and also continuing to be voices. So this is a greater opportunity at a global level, but also we have to continue instilling this specific vision to to the member organizations. I believe if these member organizations have a greater visibility locally, the government gets to recognize them, they get to fundraise and receive the support at that local level. I believe at a global level, it's just going to be topping up that, you know, the vision, the visibility, as well as the fundraising part. So this is a greater part of doing what you're doing, but increase the visibility, increase the speaking out, and making sure that there is an impact. And the girl that from a rural area, you know, this is a brownie, I'm learning how to, you know, to make a garden in this girl power nutrition program. I'm teaching the community, I'm teaching my parents. Let this be the recognition that starts from the village leadership at the district level, then it comes later at the global level. So we're still struggling with there is a global visibility, but then we are not being recognized at the local level. So I'd want this to be a part of it, and it gets to be instilled continuously to our member organizations. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. I'm going to ask again, does anybody in our Zoom call today have any more questions to ask our guests today? I see we have quite a few people on here. Nobody. Paula, do we have any questions? I see a couple of Paulas in here. Laura had asked a previous question. Laura, do you have any follow-up or any discussion around that? All right. So again, feel free to use the chat. Feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself. Our guests are here to answer your questions, and I'm sure they're more than happy to have a conversation. Oh, Hime.
No, no tengo una pregunta. Lau, ¿querés leer la pregunta y la respuesta en español?
For sure. Okay, Yeah, perfect. Okay, so the question from Laura we had in the chat was, what is the vision that you just stated in order to work as a global team? And Jess's response to that was, we were talking about the new proposed vision in Compass 2032. Our vision is an equal world where all girls can thrive. By 2032, we will be a girl-led movement where every and any girl feels confident to lead and empowered to create a better world together. There's a guide to Compass 2032 available to all MOs as part of the written resolution process currently underway. Wonderful. All right. Okay. I'm just gonna check in with the committee. Am I okay to ask question number 2, or should we continue on? And the Compass, go ahead. Okay, and the Compass link will be shared as well if anyone's interested in that afterwards. Okay, so question number 2. Again, I will ask to the MOs first. How are you preparing to experience an online conference? And what advice can you give to other MOs, and especially the young women who will be participating at this conference? All right, perfect. We have a question from Adwoa. I'll unmute you, or, oh, you're unmuted, perfect.
Hi, everyone. This is Adwoa from GS USA, and I was just responding to the question for our Emma. So thank you guys, Abby, so much for a great question. I think we are all, a little sad that we can't come together, but looking forward to the virtual space as well. And so for us, we are doing some of the same things we would have done before, is doing our online trainings, because our delegation is, of course, is spread around the country. Delving into the motions and understand where we stand around them, and really kind of figuring out what the schedule is going to be. That's our biggest kind of task ahead. We have a delegation that is spread across 3 time zones. And for some of us, it'll be early for all of us. And for some of us, it will be very early, like 4 a.m. in the morning those days. So building up our stamina for those early mornings for that week. And really delving into the schedule as we head into July and in the buildups there. So making sure that we are ready, not only for that last week in July, but over the next 4 weeks and all of the events and programs that are going to be happening as we go forward. And I think for any of us, that's the biggest advice I would give all of us, including young women, is be prepared, understand the discussions that are going to be when the videos come out for the bids, watch them, get all your questions ready, find those moments to ask all of your questions, and understand where your position is and how it relates to your member organization. So that's what we are in, what we're doing right now. And we're also looking really forward to connecting with all of you. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that. I'm sure your advice will be taken well by everyone in the room right now. I'll pass it over. We have another question. I'll ask to unmute you, Candela. All right, you should be able to.
Hola. Oh, thank you, Abby. I'm going to speak in Spanish. Creo que todas las organizaciones miembros estamos muy a la expectativa y contentas por lo que va a suceder en esta primera conferencia virtual mundial que vamos a llevar a cabo y que vamos a ser todas protagonistas. Desde el punto de vista de la Asociación Guías Argentinas, y me parece que en general algo muy importante es estar familiarizadas con las reglas de procedimientos que van a decir y van a marcar el norte de cómo vamos a tomar las decisiones de una manera democrática y transparente. También me parece importante, como decía Adwa, estar en contacto con los documentos y haber leído qué decisiones vamos a tomar y qué alcance van a tener. Somos un movimiento y hoy tenemos una determinada función, y aquellas personas que sean delegadas y observadoras tenemos un rol muy importante en lo que va a suceder en la organización en el corto, en el y en el largo plazo. También es importante conocer los tiempos de la conferencia, porque al ser virtual va a haber cosas que por ahí nos van a confundir porque van a ser muchos horarios, muchos días diferentes y decisiones, cuál es nuestro rol dentro de delegadas para saber cuáles aquellas personas jóvenes que participan por primera vez en esta conferencia. Estamos todas al pie de igualdad, más allá de haber participado en 4 o 5 conferencias mundiales. Esta es la primera vez que es una conferencia virtual, así que no tengan miedo, pregunten, así como aquellas personas con muchísima experiencia también. Bueno, y es un desafío para todas, así que ánimos y bueno, buena conferencia para todas.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And we have one more over here from Miriam.
Yes, good afternoon, sisters. I am from the council in Suriname, the Suriname Sapatvinsraad, representing the Suriname Sapatvinsraad. And if you allow me, one addition that I would like to make to what Deborah has mentioned before on her ideas of communications and technology. I would like to also add to that addressing the unequal access to communications and technology, because not all girls and young women have the access. So we have to ensure that we also address that. So I would like to, point that out. But thanks to all the nominees for their presentations, which were very well received. With regards to our organizations preparing, it will be definitely a challenging, because it would be the first World Conference in a virtual means. You miss the sisterhood being together, but definitely, with COVID, it's not possible. But we, as I think one of the previous speakers has said, we are preparing the same way as before, coming together, looking at the motions, and then seeing what positions we as an MO would take during the conference. Definitely, we also look forward to the orientation sessions, because that may clear up some of the still uncertainties, how to vote, how to do all the participation in the conference. But definitely we have been preparing, and we will continue to prepare, substantively. And yeah, also with the observers, looking forward to also having them prepared to participate in the World Conference. It will be challenging. Definitely, we hope that we will have a good connection throughout the days, because sometimes connection may be challenging. But we, on a substantive matter, we continue to prepare with the 2 MOs, with the 2 CAs that form part of the member organization that is part of the WACS. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your words. All right, and we have a question in the chat from Paula. She says, from girls valued to girls led movement, there is a huge change in terms of strategy. I would like to hear from you about how WEGs can step it up to achieve this ambitious vision up to 2032. So do any of our candidates have anything to comment on regarding that question?
I'm happy to go first, Abby. Thank you very much, Paula, for your question. Really interesting. I think that what girl-led means is very different to all of us within our MO. It may be very different at different levels, and obviously between MOs, there isn't a single description, and that is acknowledged in Compass 2032. And so I think the ambition to be more girl-led than we are in our specific context now is important for us all to remember. For me, though, I think there are a number of key resources and tools that we can all use that, again, can be adapted to our individual needs. The best example, I think, is our WAGS leadership model, the leadership mindsets. And there's already some really helpful resources there that show how that model can work at an individual level for a girl, for a leader, for the leaders of our associations, and obviously for WAGs leading the movement as a whole. So I think that again gives us a really helpful foundation to base our leadership development work on, and also building on the huge successes of seminars like Helen Storrow, the Juliette Lowe seminar, and the Hub model that we used in 2019, I think gives us some really exciting opportunities to reach even more girls and young women. I also think that hopefully as a movement, getting behind the recommendations from the Young Women's Research Team and the work that has come out of Motion 32 from the World Conference 3 years ago, and committing to that together. Hopefully at World Conference, we'll see those motions be passed, and that will enable us to have some really important work to do to, as you say, Paula, to really step this up. I think we do need to make sure that we are putting girls front and center now and in the future. And I think that changing our ways of working, being willing to think differently, and also recognizing the value of the intergenerational communities that we have in guiding is still really important. But I do think that there is work to do, and I think as a member of the World Board, I would see this as a huge priority and something that the World Board needs to really be role modeling and be leading the way, and sharing all of that learning with others.
Wonderful, thank you so much. All right, Deborah or Helga, do you have anything to add?
Sure. I'd love to build on what Jess said. I agree with everything that you said, Jess. I think you've raised some really important efforts that we can really uplift and highlight. I think we all agree that our focus should be on a girl-led movement. How we get there is an entirely different approach, but I think it's really important for us to be hard on ourselves, to evaluate what we're doing at the member organization level. The member organizations actually are WAGs, in my view, and we need to take a hard look at what we're doing at our member organization level, address gaps, set goals and benchmarks for ourselves as well as for WAGs. But what I also believe is that there are probably some really wonderful programs and practices that are already in place at the MO level. And we should be looking for ways to lift up those best practices so we can share and learn from each other. We are all committed to the power and the promise of a girl-led environment, and we know what can happen, and we should be prepared to learn from each other, and not be in a place where we're kind of trying to reinvent some of the great work that perhaps is already existing in other parts of certainly the Western Hemisphere, some really great programs, but also around the world. And I want to underscore what Jess said about intergenerational leadership. I think our movement, the WAGs movement, is a leader already in intergenerational leadership, but we should look for ways to, again, find the best practices that are available so we can share it across our movement. And also that WAGs could be a resource for those outside of our movement. I think one of the great areas of our opportunity for WAGs is to lift up our advocacy voice as the largest movement of girls and young women in the world, and really put some of our practices and our values out in a much more assertive way than we have. And certainly girl-led is what we want to be known for. And that's one of the greatest opportunities I think that we have looking into the future. Thank you. Great question.
Sorry about that. Thank you. And I see Helga's unmuted herself, so you can go right ahead.
Yes, my fellow nominees have said it all very well. Just to add on what Deborah said on the advocacy part, because that's where I was looking at. I'd say WAGs has already started, and WAGs is moving at a larger scale, like we're moving really forward as fast as you wouldn't expect, because with the motion 32, the research that was done, and the way that it's, it's at the forefront of every event that we have, which has to be discussed. All member organizations have to know about this. The way that we have to have a young leader at the world board, as well as the regional board committee. So I would say that's the first step, and every member organization will follow that. And I would give an example with my member organization. This is something that they really want to have young people, and it's not just about one representation. If you are capable, if we have half of the board as young people, it's well and good. And why is it going to be very successful? And it is successful as it is right now. You see an example with Chamatia, just the time that she was the board member. She has done big things, and she's continuing to do these amazing things. So I'd say, all young people actually listening, I think we have position. We are head delegates, like our MOs have, entrusted us to lead the delegation, make decisions on behalf of this. And we haven't disappointed. I had an opportunity to lead the delegation to my African regional conference, and we were bidding to host. And I presented. That was the first time presenting, and happily we won. We'll be hosting the African Regional Conference in 2022, and have seen, there's Candela here, that I believe she's an amazing leader at her own member organization. So young people have been given opportunities, and we haven't disappointed. And this is going to give, encourage more member organizations to give opportunities to young people. Let's continue embracing each other, learning from each other. This vision is going to be achieved as even before 2032, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you again so much. Thank you to everyone for your participation, for your questions, and for the conversation. I'm going to pass it back to the committee now to finish with some closing words, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Abby and Jimena. At this time, I do want to use, just to give us all a reminder that voting by written resolution is currently open for voting on the Compass 2032 membership proposals and the membership fee policy 2022-2023. And I do want us to keep in mind that voting will close on the 14th of July at 5 p.m. UTC time. Aside from that, I do want us to be aware that tomorrow, if you do have the time, I know you have taken an hour from today, but I'm asking you to take another hour from tomorrow to ensure that you're fully prepared for the upcoming World Conference. There will be a webinar on the non-constitutional motions, and that will have a start of 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That will be 7:30 a.m. in Argentina, 5:30 a.m. Mexico City time, and as well as 11:30 GTM. So again, please make the time to attend that webinar tomorrow. If you're not able to make it, I do want to ask you that you ensure that your MO is represented by someone so that you're all in the loop and we're not missing out on any information, any questions that you need to be answered. These are the forums that you need to ask them. You can look forward to another coffee hour next Saturday, the 3rd of July. And again, you will have an opportunity to meet with the candidates from other regions. So please come yourself or bring along somebody else to the conversations. And as always, we do want to hear from you. So we truly appreciate your participation. With that, I do want to say thank you to all. Thank you to our presenters, Jess, Helga, Deborah. Thank you to our moderators, Abby and Jimena. Thank you to Laura, who would have interpreted this session solely by ourselves. And most importantly, thank you to you from our MOs who would have attended today's session. Thank you all again. We're looking forward to seeing you at our upcoming events. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. I know it's early, but please make the time to be there. Before we leave, I do want us to put our cameras on so that we can have a photo opportunity where we show that guiding must continue strong. I will ask Cindy Ann to take us through the photo op. So if you're not familiar, you put your hand up, you make the sign, the strength. Cindy.
All right. Yes. So you're going to have to hold those smiles a little bit. So, all right, because it's a couple frames and I'm going to tell you when, and you're not sure which frame you're on. So you're going to have to hold the smile for both of them. All right. So the first one. 1 second, sorry. All right. Oops. Little technical challenge there. All right, 1, 2, 3. And I'm over to the second one. Hold that smile, everybody. 1, 2, 3. And I've got it. Thank you very much, everyone. Again, thank you for your time, and we look forward to chatting with you tomorrow and next week.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Have a great remainder of the day.